All right, it's story time. I've got another story for you. You're watching On the Mark with Mark. Okay, this story is the haircut. And here's what happened. Now, this was a haircut that I received. There's actually two haircuts here. The first one happened when I was probably 4 years old. And I've got a couple of pictures of what it looked like. Here's the first picture. This is quite a bit before I was 4. This is my folks' 4 sons. I'm one of the kids in this picture. Try to figure out which one. Okay, so this happened after this picture was taken. All right, now here's the next picture. So these are to give you an idea of the type of haircuts that we had back in the 60s. So you can see all of us boys, we had butches. All right, so that's the way it is. So it starts out, I'm 4 years old, and my brother, Mike, he calls me into the bathroom and he says, come here, I want to show you something. And, I'm 4 years old, he's 6. I walk in there, and he's got the clippers that my mom used to cut our hair. Only it's got no guard on it at all. It's just the bare clippers. Okay? And he says, hold still. And, I'm trusting. I hold still. He goes at me with that thing, and he buzzes me right down the center of my head. He gives me a reverse mohawk. That's right. And my mom, of course, as soon as she hears that clipper running, then she comes running, but it's too late. He's already scalped me down to bare skin pretty much. I can remember her going, how am I going to fix this? And I'm sitting there, and a little kid, I can't see this. This is on my head, it's not a big deal to me. Fix what? So my mom ends up having to pretty much scalp me down to bare skin, So the rest of my brothers have a little bit of hair, but then there's me, just about a skinhead. And whenever we'd get these butches, if you felt on the back side of your neck, if you've ever had a butch before or flat top or something, it's just real prickly feeling back there, and it goes away after your hair's had a couple of days to grow in. I don't know, maybe a week or so. Well, this haircut was so short that it felt like that everywhere on my head. And not it really like that, but I didn't really go around touching my head all that much. And I don't remember anybody really having any comments to me about it. I suppose maybe they did, but the only person I remember was my dad. When he got home from work and we were sitting at the kitchen table, and I don't know why I remember this, but he was buttering a piece of bread, and he looked at me and he says, what happened to you? And I've forgotten all about this by now because everybody else can see this, but I don't really see it. And my mom finally pipes in and she says, Mike cut his hair. Yeah, she cut him down so far I had to cut him like that so that it could grow out even. And my dad says, well, it looks like, for a couple of weeks you're going to have some pretty short hair there. And, I didn't really care, but I knew I'd been taken advantage of, and it didn't really set well with me. So, a few years go by, and let's see, if I was 4 when that happened, I'm probably 6, I think, probably 6. And my mom was cutting all of our hairs, and what we did, all my brothers and I, our basement back in those days was pretty empty, and there was one corner that we used to use for hair cutting because there was nothing in there. I mean, there was a vinyl or a tile floor and bare concrete, and there was one light in that corner, and then there was a conduit that came down from the light, and then there was an outlet there. So my mom used to sit us all on a stool, and she cut her hair, and then it was very easy to sweep up the hair when she was done. Well, Doug and Mike had both had their haircuts, and it was my turn. So I get up on the stool, and I got this apron around me, and my mom's cutting my hair, and things are going fine. And then the phone rings, and my mom says, "I'll be right back." And at that time, we only had one phone that was on the wall in the kitchen. So my mom went upstairs to answer the phone. Well, we were patient for a little while, and pretty soon my brother Mike, he gets a hold of those clippers again, and he says, "I'm gonna cut your hair." Well, I've been down that road before. I said, "No, you're not." And he goes, yeah, I'm gonna finish cutting your hair." So I reached up and I grabbed hold of that cord that was on those clippers, and I said, "No, you're not." And he's coming at me and he goes, "Yes, I am." Well, I start to pull on that cord, and my brother Doug, my oldest brother, he is a stickler for the rules. And he says, no, you can't pull out the plug by the cord. And so he goes up there and he hangs on to the plug and he holds it into the outlet, because I'm doing it wrong, and he's gonna make darn sure that I don't do it wrong. He's gonna hold it in there instead of unplugging it, because I need it unplugged. This guy's coming at me. Okay? No. Can he help a brother out? No, unless maybe he was already on Mike's side. Maybe he was helping that brother out. So they hadn't thought of that before. Maybe they were in it together. Damn. Well, anyway, he's holding that thing in there. And Mike is coming at me, and I got a hold of that cord, and Doug is holding the plug into the outlet, and then Mike flips on the clippers. So it's coming down. So I had a hold of that cord, and I pulled that thing, but Doug is holding it in there. Well, there's a good reason you don't pull on the cord. Back in those days, the plug was actually, there was a wire that went through the hole, and then it split apart, and then it went onto two screws, and then the blades of the plug came out there. Okay, it wasn't like they are now, where they're all, formed in plastic, and you can get away with pulling on a cord, quite a few times with that type. But not with this type, especially when somebody's hanging on to the plug. But I was pulling on that thing anyway, because I'm pretty desperate at this time. So what happened is, those wires just slid off of those screws, and when they had to go through the hole in the back of the plug, they touched together. And sparks and flame came shooting out of that plug. It was like that far. Came out straight towards us. It made this sound like that. And not only did it come out towards us through the direction of the cord, but there was another flash that was kind of parallel with the wall, where the outlet was here and the plug was there. It all just went out that way. So Doug is hanging onto the plug right here, and he gets missed by this flame that shoots out this way, and he gets missed by the flame that shoots out that way. No burns, doesn't get burned at all, but he is right in there. And of course, as soon as that happens, Mike and me and Pat, we take off, and we're heading up the stairs. Meanwhile, Doug is there, and he turns around and looks just in time to see that apron I was under kind of drifting to the floor, and he can hear the three of us tumbling up the stairs, passing each other like 3 times. We rounded the corner into the kitchen, and we came running to Mom, there's a fire, and come up there, and I can remember hanging onto my mom's leg, and there's a fire, and I don't know how my mom does this, but she is just as calm as can be on the phone, and she's like, yeah, I gotta go now. All right, goodbye. And hangs up the phone, and I'm like, she should be totally panicked. Why is she so calm here? And then we're like, dragging her downstairs to take a look at this. And by now, Doug is standing there all by himself looking at this. And here's this black mark on the outlet down there. I mean, it really charred the thing. And there was, my haircut didn't get finished that day. And that corner of our basement was just had a black cloud over it. To me, I'll bet you I didn't come within 6 feet of that outlet for 5 years. I mean, there was this black mark on it, so that reminder was always there, and I did not get near that thing. I might be over there, but when I'm saying 6 feet, I mean 6 feet. I ever plugged anything into that outlet there. And as a consequence of this, and I don't know if Pat and Mike felt the same way about the thing, but that area just sort of stayed really clean and uncluttered because we never did anything over there. I went to take a picture of that outlet because my folks still live in that house, and I thought it would really be neat to have a picture of that burn spot there, but that area corner of the basement is now a wood shop my dad remodeled, well, a good 20 years ago, and that outlet got removed. And I asked him about it, and he said, oh, it's probably in a box somewhere around here. But I didn't feel like digging through all the stuff to try to find it. I mean, you can kind of get the idea how that outlet was burned. But I never forgot about that. Don't let your brother cut your hair. Here's that picture again. Now, this is the one where we're older, so this is after the haircut happened there. Now, can you tell? See, I'm the intelligent looking one in this bunch. I just love this picture. Boy, did I hate it as a little kid, though. My brothers used to really tease me about this. This picture was taken in 1967. I know because that's when my mother was in the hospital with the birth of my sister. She was born in February of 67. So we got to do dishes, and that's how my dad took that picture. So there's another story. Shorter story. I hope you appreciate that. I got a couple more stories, but I'm going to space these out a little bit. Let me know what you think of this. If you want another story, I do have another farm story, so I'll probably get to that. And I've got a story about the bicycle and the geese. So that was pretty horrifying. So thanks for listening to my story. You're listening to On the Mark with Mark.